bring in our correspondent, Moyo Thomas. She joins us for us to take a look at the potentials that lie ahead for the country through foreign relations in the new dispensation. Moyo, it's good to see you, having gone through the historic moment yesterday where we swore in the 16th president of Nigeria. Moyo, the first question I want to ask you is, from the foreign diplomats, from the diplomats you spoke with, at the inauguration, how did they perceive the language, the speech of the president?
Remembered to talk about foreign policy while he was talking about, while he was giving his inaugural speech. Nigeria is very important in the dynamics of development in Africa, particularly, and in the world generally. But then when we talk about development in Africa, Nigeria plays a vital role. We have the largest population, we have many resources that is needed for the world. So Nigeria taking the lead is what is needed, and the president has promised that Nigeria will take the lead it needs to take, especially in ensuring peace and stability, and that particularly is what is important. The country, the continent needs peace, needs stability at this time. There's so many things going on, and also with crisis in countries like Sudan and military junta taking over in some other countries. This is the time for Nigeria to start speaking again, start talking, and start taking action. Some that I spoke with, even before the inauguration, said Nigeria had always played this activist role in Africa, but then when some countries that were under colonization got their independence, Nigeria seemed to have taken a rest. But then with happenings now, this is the time for Nigeria to come forward. And from what the president has said, we're going to see a new Nigeria and a new foreign policy at work going forward.
Many persons have said in the days leading to the inauguration, a lot of people were concerned as to if Nigeria was going to experience a peaceful transition of power because of the keenly contested election in February. But if you talk about how significant the peaceful transition is for other African countries, particularly in the West African countries and in some parts of the East, from your interactions with some of those diplomats and from this foreign affairs analyst, what are they really saying as to what this president can do differently from the Buhari administration?
I think what he has said is what people need to hear, and that is the action that is now meant to be followed with action for people to see that indeed peace and stability is in the African. He has said Nigeria will play an active role, though Nigeria has always been active in the ECOWAS region and even in AU, but the president specifically said yesterday that Nigeria will be more active in AU and in ECOWAS. And then talking about what the speculations people had given even before now, Nigeria now handing over power transition in Nigeria means a lot. It says a lot, it gives a lot, it signifies a lot on the African continent and in the world. And if for Nigeria to have had this seamless transition, it just points to the fact that there is a lot that needs to be done for other African countries to take a cue from Nigeria and also ensure that democracy is enthroned, democracy strives, and then going by also ensuring that Nigeria is respected, gets its respect. The image is there as it used to be as the giant of Africa. Now is when we need more implementation on the foreign policies beyond what we had in the Buhari administration.
I want to say that from your interactions, of course, what do you suggest would be the low-hanging fruits for this administration, particularly when you take a look at Nigeria's foreign policy?
Let me start with what he said at the inaugural speech. The assurance he gave to investors, to foreign investors, that they would be able to repatriate their money. We know they had that issue during the Buhari administration, that a lot of them were not able to repatriate their money. It's one of the reasons the airlines particularly had a lot of issue, and other investors. But with the assurance he gave yesterday, and when we're talking economic development, foreign investors, private sector generally, plays a vital role. And when we can have enough of these investors around, then we can, and them having a conducive business environment is very important. We can't talk foreign policy without looking at the domestic policy. Our domestic policy is what reflects on the foreign scene. So if we can get it right economically, especially now that he has promised that the private sector, the foreign investors will have a good time, then we can be sure that we can have economic buoyancy under this administration, and this can translate to Nigeria also having peace, having stability, having the guts it needs to venture into other African countries and taking the lead and ensuring that this peace transcends beyond our border.
I've seen a contingent of African leaders and world leaders attend the inauguration on Monday. They came in on Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, leading up to the event on Monday. But I want to ask that how you see the government of the West, some of which, you know, have seen delegates helping Nigeria achieve the aim of what the president has said in his speech.
We already have this relationship with the West, a very good one. But then, you know, Nigeria, with the non-alignment policy that we also have, we are not particular about, Nigeria is not particular about any country. We have good cordial relations with all countries. But now countries are trying to cut Nigeria's attention, get Nigerians' attention, and get Nigeria's friendship, particularly. So the West right now would, and with the assurance that business people, when you talk about the West, their interest is actually having their businesses thrive in countries like Nigeria. We have the population that interests them. We have the resources that interest them. So with enough policy, good policy, Nigeria now will have a lot of good times to come from the assurance the president has given. And you know, the West also, the bilateral relations we have with US, we have with China, this is the time to start looking at countries that will give us the best policies. We have seen China taking the lead in a lot of things. Now, let's see if Nigeria will maintain that, or then we'll see us moving to other countries. Like India is also there, indicating interest in being at the forefront. But then we have a relationship with countries like America, like the UK, and they are there. They've promised us, the British High Commission also just released a statement from King Charles that says, King Charles III, that says they want to build a stronger relations with Nigeria. And we are hoping that with this new administration, especially a private sector focused, a foreign investor focused administration that we are seeing coming in, that has been assured, now it's going to be a new dawn for Nigeria.
We certainly seek that new hope and new dawn that the president has promised. TVC News Foreign Affairs correspondent Moyo, thank you so much for speaking to us.